He arrived home early from a business trip and found a sight that froze him to the marrow. His housekeeper's wrists were bound to the headboard, and the twins were strapped helpless against her chest. At first glance, it smelled of betrayal. The truth was uglier. His wife had shamed the woman, denied her the chance to see her dying boy, and physically restrained her so she could not leave. When the millionaire uncovered what had really happened, his choice stunned everyone and altered the household forever. Before we begin, tell us in the comments what time it is and where you're watching from. Now, let's start. Elena's arms trembled as she cradled the wailing twins to her breast. Their tiny bodies pressed into her blue uniform, little fists clawing at the fabric, their keening cutting through the hush of the mansion. She pressed kisses to their foreheads, murmuring, "Hush, my loves, please don't cry. Don't wake her, just sleep." But they kept at it. Her gloved yellow hands rocked until the ache spread through her shoulders. Every motion felt heavier. She hadn't eaten since morning. She hadn't slept properly in weeks. All she needed, was 1 hour. 1 hour to rush to the hospital and sit beside her son, who lay shivering beneath hospital sheets. 8 years old, lungs clogged with infection, fighting for breath. She had begged the doctors not to give up. But what was the use of pleading with physicians when his own mother could not be there to hold his hand? When she had dared to ask for time off, the lady of the house had laughed in her face. Mrs. Hale's heels clicked on marble earlier that afternoon as she swung into the nursery, a glass of wine in hand. Her eyes, sharp and heavily made up, fastened on Elena with frost. "You again with that pathetic look?" Mrs. Hale sneered, swirling the wine. "What excuse now? Forgot how to fold my husband's shirts? Burn the stew?" Elena swallowed her pride. "Ma'am, please. My son's in the hospital. He's very ill. I just need a short while." Mrs. Hale's laugh was a blade. "Your son? That frail child I hear about every other week? Why must I suffer for a maid who can't keep her child alive?" Elena's throat closed. "He's all I have, ma'am. 30 minutes, and that's all." 30 minutes? The woman snapped. "Do you think these babies can spare even 30 seconds without you clinging to them? Listen to them, crying, wailing. And this is how you care for them? You can't even keep them quiet. And you have the gall to ask me for favors?" Elena felt tears rise but stood her ground. "I'll run there and back. No one will notice." Mrs. Hale's hand shot out, the slap ringing through the nursery. Wine sloshed in its glass. "Ungrateful rat, don't forget your place. You are not a mother here. You are a servant. Servants do not choose where they go." The twins screamed at the sudden blow. Elena bowed her head, soothing them, cheeks burning. "Please, not in front of them." But Mrs. Hale's face hardened. "If you cannot remain where I place you, then I will make sure you do." She tore a strip of linen from a nearby wardrobe, seized Elena's wrists, and shoved her against the bed. The infant squealed at the motion, clutching tighter to Elena's chest. "No, ma'am, please, the babies!" Elena struggled, but the soft-clad figure proved stronger than she looked, driven by a cold, cruel purpose. "Shut your mouth," Mrs. Hale hissed, forcing Elena's arms upward. She bound the linen snugly around Elena's wrists and fastened the knots to the headboard. Elena flinched as the cords bit into her skin. The gloves made it harder to wriggle free. "Ma'am, I can't move. Please, this is dangerous." "Dangerous?" Mrs. Hale scoffed. "The only danger in this house is a maid who forgets she is disposable." She stepped back, satisfied to see Elena pinned beneath the weight of duty and shame. Escape was impossible. The twins whimpered, restless, but as Elena sobbed lullabies, their cries softened. Mrs. Hale sipped her wine, a smug curl on her lips. "See, you're not going anywhere. You will stay here. Feed them, soothe them, bleed for them if necessary. But forget your pathetic child. He will die, and you will still be here rocking mine." Elena's heart splintered, a hollow ache twisting inside her chest. She shook her head, sobbing softly. "Please, don't say that." "Not about him." Mrs. Hale cocked her head, eyes gleaming with cruel delight, her voice dripping with mock pity. "When my husband gets home, I'll tell him what I discovered. His maid, tied down, pretending to be a saint while secretly lazy, careless, and deceitful. Let's see how long you manage to keep your place here." With a cold smirk, she swept out of the nursery, the door slamming shut behind her. Time dragged mercilessly. Elena's wrists burned as the knots cut deeper. The twins shifted, their tiny whimpers soft against her chest. At last, exhaustion claimed them, their cries fading into shallow breaths. She rocked gently, voice trembling as she whispered, "Sleep now, angels. Mama's here, always here." But her thoughts wandered, unbidden, to her own boy. Was he awake? Was he crying for her? Was he asking why she never came? The weight of it crushed her. Her eyes drooped, her body heavy with fatigue, until the sharp click of a key at the front door jolted her upright. Footsteps rang through the marble halls, firm, steady, familiar. A door creaked. There he stood. Victor Hale, framed in the doorway, navy suit pristine, briefcase still in hand. His strong features drained of color, his eyes darting from Elena's bound wrists to the two sleeping infants strapped against her chest. He froze, breath caught in his throat. For a long moment, he could only stare at the shocking tableau. His children lashed to the maid, her wrists cruelly tied to the headboard. "What the hell is this?" His voice thundered through the room. Elena flinched. "Sir, I beg you, don't raise your voice. The babies... Don't you dare tell me how to act in my own home," he barked, stepping forward. The briefcase hit the floor with a thud. "Explain now!" Her lips quivered. She wanted to pour everything out, but her throat closed, the words tangled. Only a broken whisper escaped. It wasn't me." Victor loomed over her, his shadow swallowing her pale, tear-streaked face. "Then who? Who tied you? And why are my children strapped to you like this?" Before Elena could form an answer, the sharp staccato of heels cut through the hallway. Mrs. Hale appeared, framed in the doorway like a queen at court. Crimson lips curled into a satisfied smirk as she raised a fresh glass of wine to her mouth. She sipped slowly as if nothing in the world were amiss. "Oh, darling," she drawled, her tone dripping false innocence. "I didn't expect you back so soon." Victor's head whipped toward her, eyes blazing. "Catherine, what is this madness?" She arched a brow, gliding into the nursery with deliberate poise. "Exactly what it looks like. I found her lazing about, lying in our bed while the babies wailed. Can you imagine? So I made sure she couldn't abandon them again." Elena's eyes widened with horror. "That's not true," she cried, her voice cracking. "Sir, please. You must believe me." Victor silenced her with a raised hand, his gaze drilling into his wife. "You tied her? Catherine, are you out of your mind?" She rolled her eyes, twirling the stem of her wine glass between manicured fingers. "Don't be so dramatic. She's a servant. Servants don't just wander off as they please, and especially not when she was begging to run to that hospital for her. What is it, that weak little child of hers? Honestly, I grew tired of hearing about it." The words sliced through Elena like knives. Her head dropped, hot tears spilling freely. "My son," she whispered hoarsely. "He's dying." And she wouldn't let me go to him. Victor's eyes snapped back to Elena. "Your son? You never told me you had a child." Elena's chest heaved with broken sobs. "I couldn't risk losing this job." "I needed it. To pay for his medicine. I thought if I worked hard enough I could keep up with both, but... She choked, unable to finish. Catherine's smirk deepened. "You see? She hides things. She's dishonest. I told you she wasn't fit for this. Look at her now, pathetic, clinging to our children as if they were her own, weeping and pretending to be a victim." Victor's fist slammed against the headboard, the crack reverberating through the room. Elena gasped at the force of it. "Enough!" His roar shook the nursery. His glare burned into his wife. "How dare you treat another human being this way under my roof? How dare you risk the safety of my own children just to humiliate her?" Catherine's smirk faltered. "Risk? Don't be absurd. The babies are fine." Victor's voice seethed, low and dangerous. "Fine? Strapped to a woman who hasn't eaten, hasn't slept, bound like a criminal? Do you even hear what you're saying?" Elena's quiet sobs filled the heavy silence. The twins stirred, tiny bodies restless, but she rocked them gently against her chest, whispering lullabies through trembling lips. Her wrists screamed with pain from the knots, yet she soothed them with everything she had left. Victor moved closer, his voice gentler now. Elena, tell me. From the beginning. She shook her head, shame pulling her eyes to the floor. Sir, I never wanted to cause trouble. I only wanted to serve faithfully. But every day she insulted me, called me useless, denied me food from the very meals I cooked. And today, her voice cracked, when I begged to see my son in the hospital, she tied me down. She said I belonged to this house, not to him. Victor's throat tightened, fury burning low in his chest. His gaze searched Elena's swollen eyes, then dropped to the sleeping infants who clung to her even in slumber. His chest ached at the sight. Catherine, he said slowly, his voice trembling with rage, is this true? She scoffed, rolling her eyes with careless defiance. Oh, don't act like some righteous savior, Victor. You hired her, not me. You left me to manage this house alone while you played businessman abroad. Do you expect me to tolerate disrespect from a servant in my own home? She needed to learn her place. Victor's expression hardened like stone. Learn or suffer. She's lying! Catherine snapped, suddenly defensive. She's turning you against me. His voice dropped to a dangerous growl. No, you've done that yourself. The air between them thickened, suffocating. Catherine's smirk faltered, her mask of superiority slipping. Victor turned back to Elena, kneeling to untie the knots that dug cruelly into her wrists. She winced but did not resist. Carefully, he lifted the twins from her chest, holding them against his suit, their tiny faces pressing into him with trust. His eyes cut back to his wife, unblinking. These children, he said quietly, trust her more than their own mother, and now I know why. Catherine's lips parted, but nothing came out. For the first time, she was stripped of words. Victor drew a sharp breath, his heart torn between betrayal and shame. He placed the babies back into Elena's arms with careful reverence. For a fleeting moment, his gaze softened, the image of her, wrists bruised, cheeks stained with tears, yet still cradling his sons as if they were her own flesh, spoke louder than anything Catherine could claim. His voice, when it came, was calm but edged with steel. You humiliated her. You starved her. You tied her down. And worst of all, you gambled with the safety of our sons. Catherine, you have disgraced this family. Her face paled, the color draining from her cheeks. You'd believe her? A servant? Victor stepped forward, his jaw set like iron. Not just her word. The truth is right in front of me. A mother doesn't need blood to prove herself. And she, he gestured toward Elena, has shown more loyalty to my children than their own mother ever has. Elena's lips quivered, her voice breaking as she whispered, Sir, I never wanted to replace anyone. I only wish to serve and to see my boy just once more. The words split the air like lightning. Victor's shoulders stiffened, shame crashing down like a tide. He had not known. He had not cared enough to ask, and in his silence, cruelty had flourished within his walls. He lowered his head, voice quiet but resolute. You will see your son tonight, Elena, not in stolen moments or as a servant begging for scraps of time, but as a mother, as you deserve. Her tears spilled freely, falling onto the twins she rocked tenderly. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Victor straightened, his gaze snapping back to his wife. Catherine trembled, her silk gown no shield against the truth. You wanted to break her, he said coldly. Instead, you've broken this marriage. From this night on, nothing will ever be the same. Not for you, and not for this house. The silence was absolute until Catherine's glass slipped from her hand, shattering against the marble floor. And for the first time in years, the power inside the Hale mansion shifted. If this story touched your heart, don't scroll away. Hit the like button, leave a comment about the moment that shocked you most, and subscribe so you never miss another story. Turn on all notifications, because every day we bring you raw, emotional tales that prove money may buy comfort, but never love, loyalty, or truth.